Today is June 20th, 2018. Jay Morrison uploads this particular video onto YouTube. The name of that video is called How a $40,000 Investment Made Julian Gordon the Top Shareholder of the Tulsa Real Estate Fund. Now, Julian Gordon is a young man, a young businessman. Seems like a great guy, a man who wants to see black businesses become successful. And right now, he's the top funder of the Tulsa Real Estate Fund. And with that investment, Jay Morrison asked him to come on to his platform for an interview. But before the interview comes, Mr. Jay Morrison is so busy talking, he won't even let the young man talk. I want you to hear some of the things that Jay Morrison is saying.
Absolutely. So,
yeah, man, that's where it starts.
So a pleasure to be on with you. I want to open up like this. I'm going to allow you to introduce yourself, talk about your companies, talk about your experiences. I'll be interviewing you. But first, I want to say to those on our live stream and those who will be watching this, King Julian did not ask to be publicized for his investment. He did this as all of us did in our own anonymous way, and just no one asked to be reposted and all that. But I felt it was very important to edify you, King, as I've been talking to different business leaders, influencers, NFL athletes, NBA athletes, rappers, and all. But with all those different prowesses and titles and everything else, you stand alone as the highest holding shareholder and investor. And I need everyone to hit the applause emoji, the hand clap emoji, or the hands up emoji, or the fist emoji, or the okay emoji. Excuse me. I think it's important to edify you. We want to talk about why you didn't choose the minimum. You know, I've talked to guys that are worth millions of dollars, and they're like, I might match you 10,000, but you know, I don't know your net worth. I don't know what you do. You're going to talk a little bit about those things, but you did come in and say, you know what, I believe in the movement. Forget the naysayers, forget the internet bloggers, forget those who have thought they figured this out, although they never did it before. They have no prior experience, but they have all this information and theories. But, you know, you are a believer in this movement and in this company and this firm, and myself as a fund manager and leader. So I want to talk a little bit about those things. But first and foremost, King, let's talk about where are you from? Where do you reside? Where do you represent right now? Where do you represent, King?
Now, did you guys hear that? You see, Jay Morrison is taking shots at all of the people who declined to invest in his fund. All the naysayers who declined to invest in his fund. You know, even athletes were skeptical. Business people were skeptical. But here he's trying to prove with Mr. Julian Gordon that you should invest in the fund. But fast forward, Dima. It is now August 25th, 2023. And Mr. Julian Gordon, now 5 years older, is tired of the games that Jay Morrison is playing with him. Not only playing with him, but 15,000 other investors in the Tulsa Real Estate Fund. They feel like they have lost their money. And Mr. Julian Gordon has tried to reach out to him many times with no answers. But now he's ready to go public. And this is part of what he had to say.
My name is Julian Gordon, and I'm here to express my position of disappointment and immediate recommendations for the Tulsa Real Estate Fund. I prayed long and hard about doing this and doing it publicly, and I realized that I'm the most qualified and perhaps the only person who could do it due to 1, being the lead investor in the Tulsa Real Estate Fund, 2, a fellow developer, 3, a peer to Jay Morrison in the real estate education industry, and 4, a friend offline. Scripture says, go to your brother directly in private, and I've attempted to do so through text messages. I've requested a meeting since July 31st, and no commitment has been made. Of course, I finally got a call from him 1 hour after last night's Instagram post announcing this speech. But I was in the middle of teaching a class, so I could not answer. Even if I talked to Jay, I would still have to share what I see with the 15,000 other investors in the fund. This is simply an accountability call. People have asked, will Jay be there? The truth is, this speech is not primarily for Jay. It is for the 15,000 investors in the fund. If there was a way for me to only gather and speak to the 15,000 without going public on social media, I would have done that. But there isn't any way that I can connect with them but to go broad and cast a wide net. Much of this speech Jay already knows, and from our text messages dating back from July 27th. It's nothing new to him. He knows my stance. Without a board of directors, I, as an individual investor, have no other way to hold him accountable or influence the direction of the fund. Even if I do meet with him privately, this is a publicly raised fund and therefore justifies public critique. Why now? I personally waited this long because I believed in group economics, I believed in my brother Jay Morrison, I believed in Tref's mission, and I believed in God. I wanted to give the fund a chance despite its rocky start. As a fellow real estate developer, I know that real estate funds need 3 to 5 years to bear fruit in terms of dividends, monthly cash flows, and appreciation. The Tulsa Real Estate Fund started in June of 2018, so we have reached the 5-year mark. My capital is patient. However, the Form 1K filed recently on June 21st, 2023 for the period ending December 31st, 2021 was alarming. It showed that Tref Titanic is likely on the verge of sinking into bankruptcy unless it gets bailed out by debt or additional investment, with the fund only having $772,372 in cash left of the original $11.5 million invested. That filing was over 18 months ago, so it may already be too late for Tref investors to recoup anything. I've already written off my $40,000 investment to zero. Based on my research, it appears that the only person who has truly benefited from Tref is Jay Morrison himself. In Tulsa, Oklahoma, the real Black Wall Street, we had white outsiders burn down the neighborhood and its assets in 1921. Today, we are in 2023, and our very own people are burning through Tulsa Real Estate Fund's money from within. As not the leader in this financial literacy revolution, I can't just sit around and watch that happen. We, as a collective, are afraid of accountability because we know that if I call someone out on their stuff, they or someone else is going to call me out on my stuff that's in the darkness. Nobody is perfect, so we tend to give others' imperfections a pass. Nothing changes like that. Instead, we need a new standard of righteousness where I push you to be and do your best, knowing that you're going to push back, pushing me to be and do my best. The buddy-buddy culture we have amongst us leaders, especially in the financial literacy space, where we are afraid to lovingly call out our brothers and sisters when they publicly say or do something wrong because we don't want to ruffle any feathers, is spineless. I'm not turning a blind eye just because your Instagram following is bigger than mine, and I'm afraid you won't invite me to your party or put me on your podcast or ruin our potential or future business partnerships. We can't operate like that anymore.
So after that heartfelt speech by Mr. Julian Gordon, we can all say that hindsight is 2020. I heard about the fund in 2018. I kind of knew it was a scam, but I didn't have any proof. And some other people felt just like me. Lorenzo Davis 4207 says, that brother is about to lose all his money. But the most telling comment is this one from JM Audio. He says, my projection, Jay will end up like Madoff, run and take the money. We don't need to know. This sounds like an info commercial. Then somebody says, I could have told you that 3 years ago. Yarley HBK says, you was right. And CC Campbell 25 says, called it. Because a lot of people knew that this was a scam. But let's kind of go back to Boyce Watkins, because Boyce Watkins is very instrumental here. Remember, Boyce Watkins endorsed the fund by making this video.
And my instinct said, okay, he's really thought this through. He's really laid this out. This is going to be nice. This infrastructure is solid. And I immediately gained faith in what Jay was doing. You know, I said, okay, you know what? I'll back you. Let me know what I can do. Let me know how I can help. I was one of the initial investors. I stepped right up and wrote my check and sent it in, and I said, I'm in this. And we talked about it. I supported. People asked me about it, and I always, whenever they ask me about it, I always tell them the same thing. Why not? Why wouldn't you want to participate? I believe in the fund. I believe in Mr. and Mrs. Morrison. This is just the beginning. I am happy to invest my money. I will invest more money. I can't wait to see all the great things.
And then Once the fund started doing very bad, Boyce Watkins ran around like a clown. He then had this to say about Pocket Watchings JT's comments about criticizing the fund.
I did see a video by a brother named JT Pocket Watchers, which, I don't know why he calls himself a pocket watcher. From what I know, that term is not a flattering term, but I think that, he seems like a smart guy. He seems like a guy that I assume he's doing what he does for the right reasons. And he seems to know some stuff about some, financial topics and things like that. And he reminds me of a white guy that I saw named CoffeeZilla. And so I guess there are people who pretty much, they kind of build their brands by exposing others, exposing the fans, exposing the scams. I'm going to go get the scammers, stuff like that. Okay. And there's nothing wrong with that at all. Right. I think that that's something that has to be done. But I'm going to kind of challenge it just a little bit, not because I disagree with him having the right to do that. I mean, he did a video on Robert Smith the other day about him being an informant, which I think people should see that video, and I don't know if he's done videos about me. I don't really watch videos about me, but he might have done something about me because I've been sued and stuff like that. And the thing about business is that if you do enough business, eventually there will be a lawsuit. And the thing about lawsuits is that people say outrageous things and they're hoping that they can convince a judge or a jury or somebody to believe them. And it always starts off messy. And so one of the things that I really think you have to understand, and I want to start here with this, and this is not excusing anything. This is not saying that everything that he says is wrong. It's to say business can be messy. Business can be messy. And in fact, I'm going to say this. At some point, someone's going to sue him. At some point, somebody's going to accuse him of something if it hasn't happened already. At some point, somebody's going to come along and say, you took my money. And it might be a standard business dispute, but they're going to call it a scam. And they're going to say, this guy who's pointing out the scammers, he's a scammer too. Right? Because everybody uses that word scam. And so one of the things I will say is that, when you're talking about, what happened with the Tulsa Fund, I'm not going to say that you can't use whatever language that you want to use. I think that it's fully within your rights to do that. But I think that we have to be really thoughtful about how we go about policing Black-owned businesses. And also what's really important is that we must ask ourselves, give me a yes or no. Do you think that we police Black-owned businesses as much as we should be policing white-owned businesses? What do y'all think? Do you think that we have more scrutiny on Black-owned companies than we have on white-owned companies?
And to add insult to injury, he posted this comment and pinned it at the top. Sad music! The most fascinating thing about the Tulsa Real Estate Fund is that there are people who will obsess over a Black man who made a little bit of money, but will say nothing about white men who earn billions from the Black community. They somehow believe that destroying a Black-owned business is a good thing while giving a pass to white folks. Most people don't realize that the CEO of Disney has lost money for shareholders for the last 5 years and collected a paycheck that is about 100 times larger than any amount of money Jay Morrison has earned. My key point here is that if you are not an investor in the fund, there's a good chance that much of your criticism is driven by jealousy and self-hatred. If Jay were a white man, y'all wouldn't say a single word. Get your game up. Build something of your own. Most of the people doing the talking haven't built anything for Black people and will never try. That's what makes us effing pathetic. Wow. So let me get this right. The young man has already stated he put $40,000 into the fund. He tried to reach out and call Jay Morrison. He tried to contact him. He's done everything the right way. Yet he's lost his money. And he's critical of the fund because the fund has lost, if not most or all of its money, because Jay Morrison misused the money. Now what you're trying to do, Boyce Watkins, is say, well, if Jay Morrison was white, y'all wouldn't be tripping. What does that have to do with anything? You're trying to make an excuse for the guy because you are also protecting a fraudulent individual. So you're saying, on one hand, support Black businesses, support Black economics, but you don't want to be accountable to that. And see, that's what the problem is. See, Boyce Watkins is undergirded right there with these guys who are the scammers. Look at his positioning in his commentary. He's defending this. Again, he's talking about the people who are critical of Blacks who are losing their money. Yet you expect somebody like Boyce Watkins to come to black people's defense. But I kind of want to go to pocket watching with JT's live stream last night. It was very good, but I want you to hear some of these callers who are talking about black people, right? When we want to invest in black businesses and things like that and we get scammed, what does it do to black people's psyche?
I just wanted to make one point about some of these situations is that they don't realize, like the one thing that people was laughing about, you shouldn't have gave your money. They don't realize that this stuff feels like a heartbreak. When you give somebody, you believe in somebody, you give them what you got, you say, oh man, they're going to do. And then you find out they got you for your money or they scammed you. They got to realize that's like a heartbreak.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because you believed in them.
Yeah.
You looked at them, they told you the truth, you believed them, you gave them your money, you say, all right, this brother, sister gonna do me well. And then when you find out they scammed you, man, they got to realize that's like somebody broke your heart.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's basically all I wanted to say about that. They got to realize that. Some people don't take it lightly. I don't know how these guys walk the street after they get. I really don't understand it, because if you take my money like that, I don't give money to anybody I can't touch. Online, I don't care where you're from. If I can't touch you, you can't get a dime from me. That's, they got to realize it's a heartbreak. These guys are scammed. I've never been scammed personally, because I'm always, I don't trust anyone with my money, basically,
And see, that is the situation right there. How many black people lose hope in black America because of something that happens like that? It leaves a bad taste in your mouth. But this other sister who was particularly following Jay Morrison found out this.
So when Jay Morrison first came on the scene, I know just me, I'm a woman, I'm a black entrepreneur, and I've been in business for a long time. I know he came on like many of the other callers said, that, we're going to build up the Black Wall Street, us as black people to have somebody black to give you hope and all of that stuff like that. I never invested in it, because when I would hear him speak, it was just something about him that just gave me scammy vibes, right? So I know I followed him for a little while, and I eventually got turned off by his page, because at one point he was real flashy. He was like, I'm flashy. What is it? It was a thing.
I'm rich in real life.
Yeah. He was like really, really flashy, and the way he would talk and all of that stuff, it would just really like just do something to my inside, because I really felt like he was, this whole Tulsa thing at that point was a scam. And I actually stopped following a lot of the other black people on YouTube, like Boyce Watkins, Tamika Mallory was big on promoting him. My son was big on promoting him. It was a lot of people, black people, that I thought was really about black people and doing the right things for black people. And I used to be like, okay, you guys are supposed to be smart people. How can you not tell what he's doing, right? And you're supposed to be speaking or this space for black people, and you're promoting and being friends with this man that is clearly taking advantage of a whole lot of black people. And that turned me off of a lot of them, because I'm like, that doesn't make sense. So I've been waiting for this moment where it will finally get to where it looks like that he's almost about to get got. And I think that moment is here, and I'm happy about it. Really, like,
again, she felt that something wasn't right. And let me just tell you guys this. I'm not a person like Pocket Watching with JT who breaks down scammers, or Brother Eli, or any of that. But I will tell you that I have noticed some things that are common. And remember, I'm in the Pan-African community, the pro-black community. I'm living in Africa, so I understand frauds and scams from all over the place. I see it all the time. Land scams here in Africa. I see it with the African-American community. And one of the things you're going to always notice is opulence. Jay Morrison tries too hard to be opulent. To show he has wealth. The same thing you see with 19 Keys, all these other guys, they're always trying to show opulence, wealth, gold, cars, money, finer things. This is what these guys do. And if you're silly enough to understand that you're going to spend your money with them, the only person that will get that money is them. They don't care about the black community. They don't care about what you had to do to get your money. It takes hard work, dedication, A lot of sacrifice to be wealthy, to be rich. A lot of adding value in the business community. A lot of innovation. A lot of doing things the right way. A lot of patience, you know? So as long as you know that, understand that fact. But I believe that Jay Morrison's career is over. So guys, what do you think? It's your boy O'Shea Duke Jackson. Back at it again with another episode of Celebrity Junk. I'm out.